Professor Seach's Girl Scouts.
And Anna, Olivia, and Eva.
Today we're going to be talking about pediculosis capitis, also known as head lice.
And my name's Brissa.
And I'm Andrea.
So to start off, we have a little video for you guys to watch about head lice.
Oh yes, just as I thought.
What is it, Nurse Susie?
Emily, it looks like you have head lice.
Head lice? What's that?
Why don't we ask Dr. Itchy?
Hello, Emily. I'm Dr. Itchy. I'm here to help you learn about head lice.
But what are head lice, Dr. Itchy?
Well, Emily, head lice are tiny little bugs that love your head.
I have bugs on my head?
Oh, don't worry, Emily. Lots of kids your age get head lice. In fact, remains of head lice have been found on mummies thousands of years old. Here, let me introduce you to someone. This is Klaus the Louse. Klaus and his friends are living on your head right now.
But why?
Because that's where Klaus finds his food, on top of people's heads. And he loves to eat.
But how did he get up there?
Well, Emily, Klaus is clever. If you touched heads with a friend while the two of you were playing together, or shared a hat or a brush, Klaus may have run right over from their head onto yours. Or maybe it was Klaus's mom who grabbed onto your hair, and Klaus came from one of her eggs.
An egg?
Exactly, an egg, called a nit, like nitwit. Klaus used to be a nit, just like little Nitwit here, but eventually Klaus hatched and grew up.
But if Klaus and Nitwit and all their friends are living on my head, what should I do?
Don't worry, Emily. We'll take this note from Nurse Susie home to your mother so she'll know exactly what to do. And we'll have Klaus, Nitwit, and all their friends out of your hair in no time.
So to get started, we're just going to talk about some of the things that people think are true about lice, but they really aren't, also known as myths. So the first myth is that lice prefer dirty hair. They actually don't have a preference in the hair type. It's just how they get transferred to the hair is all that matters. The second is lice is mainly spread at school. There's multiple ways that lice is spread, and we'll talk about that later in the presentation. Lice are able to jump and fly. That is false. They are only able to crawl onto your hair. And then the last one is that pesticides are the only things that can kill lice. There's actually multiple treatment options, and we'll talk about those later on.
So what exactly is head lice? It's also known as pediculosis capitis. It's a parasite that lives on our heads, and it is most common in school-aged children, so from 5 years old to 12 years old, and those who attend daycares and schools with other children.
So now we're going to talk about the life cycle of head lice. So we're going to look at the chart here on the right-hand side. So on day 0, the nit is laid from the original louse that is on your head, and it takes about 6 to 7 days for that nit to hatch and become a louse. The louse then matures, and around day 17 or 18, it finds a mate and begins to reproduce, which then they continue to lay more nits, and then those reproduce as well. And the full-grown adult louse lives a maximum of 35 days.
So how is lice spread? So it's spread with direct contact with an infected individual or object, so touching your head to somebody else that has lice. It cannot live off the scalp for more than 24 hours, and they cannot jump, so they're only able to crawl across objects. So if you look at the photo here, it tells you a head lice are tiny and they look like a bug next to the penny. They make you itchy and sore. They can be spread by combs, hair ribbons, scrunchies, hats, and towels, so be sure not to share those. And we want to make sure we have somebody look through your hair and head to look for lice.
Game time. So our first activity we're going to do is actually from Kids Health. It's this little handout that we will attach as well so you guys can print it out and do it at home. And what's on the sheet is just different household items. And we want you guys to go ahead and take a minute, and Brissa and I will as well, and we're going to circle the things that could possibly spread lice. Mm-hmm. 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 And then all those. Are you guys done? Okay, so we're going to go over the answers now. So we circled the things that could potentially spread lice. So the first correct answer is the comb or brush. The second is the hat and scarf. The third is the pillow and sleeping bag. The fourth is your helmet. And then at the bottom of the paper, the hair tie, hair clip, headband, barrette, and scrunchie are all also things that could spread the head lice.
So your sheet should look something like this. The next activity we have for you guys is looking for lice on Miss Alice over here. So this is Miss Alice. And
I'm going to go ahead and hold the screen, and Brissa's going to look through her scalp to find the lice.
Do you guys see any? Because we have one right here. This one's right here. We have one back here. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. We have this one over here. And then we have a few back here on the back of her head. We have this one, and then this one.
And it's really important that you have someone help you look through your scalp because they can see it better than you can.
You want to make sure you're looking in the scalp and looking towards the, oh, there's another one.
Towards the root, because that's where they like to lay their nits. Now that we combed through and looked for lice in Miss Alice's hair, we're going to talk about how to properly diagnose someone with head lice. So the most important thing is having someone look through your hair like Brissa and I did with Miss Alice, and really looking for the nits and the lice at the scalp because they like to hide and burrow in there. So that would be very important to have someone else there with you. And they commonly avoid bright lights, so just making sure you're in a well-lit room and not directly using a light in the hair because they will run and hide from that. And so they are also the size of sesame seeds, which we have here. And then just some signs and symptoms you will have when you have head lice would be tickling of the scalp, severe itching. They'll be very irritable, especially at night. You'll be very itchy because they come out in the dark because they don't like the light. And then you can also get sores from scratching your head so much.
So now we're going to talk about the treatment of head lice, which you're going to want to do it after you take a shower. You're going to divide your hair into little sections, and you're going to want to brush that with a fine-tooth comb. And while you're brushing it, you're going to grab the louse and their nits, and you're going to want to wipe on a towel in between each comb through of your hair. So to assist in the treatment of head lice, you can get a pediculicide, which is an over-the-counter cream, such as the NYX Ultra here on the right. After much research, we found that this is a highly recommended brand and product. So you're going to want to apply this to your damp hair after a shower and leave it on for 10 minutes, and then you're going to want to comb through it. Or you can get prescribed a shampoo, which you apply, you leave on for 4 minutes, and then you rinse it off. And you're going to want to do either of these with an adult present.
Game time!
So we have colored this awesome book, and we've attached it so you guys are able to read it. It is the latest and greatest book about lice, and in this book is how lice travel, how it's treated, and all different fun facts about it. So we recommend you read this book.
Next is Mr. Lice, and unfortunately we bought him for the health fair, but since we can't be in the same room together. We brought him on here to say hi, and this is what they look like, just not this big, obviously. And we'll probably give him to Professor Andreski, and if she wants to give him to someone else, then we can do that. And then next, we're going to do a quick little tutorial on how to properly comb through your hair to look through or look for the nits and the lice. So our third activity is going to be properly combing through the hair, and Brissa and I had already gotten this set up here, obviously. So you're going to want to divide a section of hair, and then she has the rest of her hair in a ponytail here. And you're going to want to have your hair damp. For purposes, we didn't do that. But you're going to start at the scalp, and you can do this at home with your parents. I'm sure they would love to do that. And you're going to, with your fine-tooth comb, really slowly comb all the way down your hair. And then at the end of your stroke, you want to make sure you wipe it off with a towel.
So this is our reference slide. We are going to make sure that we have attached all the activities that we did today and showed you guys, such as that circle worksheet and the coloring book. And we hope you guys learned something.
Bye!
Bye!